going on, YouTube? Glad to be here. You will notice this week we are not using the face cam. I'm sorry, I'm feeling just a little under the weather, so I am recording this from my bed. But I've realized recently that I really don't go too in depth with my squads, so we're gonna try to swerve this a little bit. I'm gonna give you look into the unorganized aspects of my brain when I throw 6 mons onto a piece of paper. But excuse me. I've also come to realize that I kind of just throw mons onto a piece of paper. So this week we did something different. We actually I sat down and I really tried to analyze these two squads. And I found that focusing is really difficult. Like, it's really hard. Like, how do you guys do this? But this match is against Gypsy King, and good God, what's it frightening. I know we do have a pretty favorable matchup. I say pretty favorable because we have very limited hazard removal against his very offensive team. And in my opinion, the best way to take down an offensive team is with a more offensive team. Which kind of, I don't know, it left me with some awkward choices, because his team being offensive and knowing that my Mega Beedrill can kind of have its way with a lot of it, it's gonna, I don't want to say pressure, it's gonna make him want to get his rocks out early. And my hazard removal is basically boiled down to Skarmory, Flygon, and Hitmontop. Hitmontop has no place in this match. It really does not do a whole lot here. It can't really touch Zapdos, barring a non-stab Rock Slide. Doug Trio can trap it. Mega Guard murders it. Mixed or Special Ape murders it. Keldeo murders it. Like I said, the only reason to bring Hitmontop would be for the spin, and Skarmory just did more. It just does more. But we are going to get into what I actually did bring. Now, we have a max special defense Celebi with an Assault Vest rocking Giga Drain, U-Turn, Earth Power, and Ancient Power. Now, this Celebi was... I had a couple mocks, not a lot. I think maybe 3 or 4. Celebi's mainly here because Zapdos, even a tanky Zapdos, it just out-staminas my team. It does. Manectric does a good chunk to it, but Roost happens. We will get to another set I have for Zapdos check. HP Ice puts down Flygon. Thunderbolt puts down Skarmory. And Beedrill can put in some damage, but Beedrill's role in this match is not to kill anything. Beedrill is not supposed to be killing things, at least not early on. Because the first thing I see when I look at his squad versus mine is Scarfed Dougie. Scarfed Dougie has to come into this game, because it only takes 1 kill for Beedrill to get trapped and revenged. And that's not what I want Beedrill to be doing. It's not supposed to be a 1-for-1. I don't want it to be 1-for-1. So Beedrill's main thingy here is Secret Wind Gun. Now, we brought a surprisingly bulky Beedrill. 168 HP investment, max attack adamant, just a little bit of speed F investment, and 84 in speed. We are rocking U-Turn, Poison Jab, Drill Run, and Tailwind. Mainly because, again, it only takes 1 kill for Beedrill to get revenged by Scarf Dougie. I see no reason for him not to bring Scarf Dougie. I feel like that was my main fear of this match, I guess, which is why we have Frostlass, Flygon, and Skarm, as well as Air Balloon Manectric, to not be trapped by Scarf Dougie. But mainly, I want to get Beedrill in there late enough. I'm going to describe this more as the match is going, but I want to get Beedrill in late enough to be able to set up a Tailwind, so we can abuse our 4 Pivot Mons, as well as outspeed Scarf Dougie, as well as any other potential Scarfers, and or D-Dance Knight, and just kind of clean up from there. But it is going to require a lot of chip damage to happen. as well as excuse me, as well as segue into our next one, who is going to be Frostlass. Now, oh, you know what? This is what I'm talking about. I don't go enough into my squad. Pedro doesn't OHKO as much as it hits high percentages. Zapdos takes a lot from a poison jab. Guard obviously dies. Dougie's gonna die, barring a sash. I almost said snatch. Good God, barring a sash. Infernape gets killed by this, barring a potential Shuka. Keldeo's eating a decent chunk, but we have checks for Keldeo. I don't see him bringing Muck so much, just because I have some pretty good EQ spam. Empoleon, I think, takes 50 to 60% depending on the build from a drill run, barring a Shuka. Gypsy goes down by U-turn, as well as Shaman. Dragonite's not going to want to take a Poison Jab, and Golisopod is going to take heavy damage, depending on the build again. But Tailwind is mainly our winning point here, especially because we can set up a Tailwind and segue into Frostlass, who is a Specs variant. We are carrying Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, and Psychic, mainly just to really put a dent in there. I want to have something to eat his walls, because I really don't have that much of a special attacking repertoire. That was such a bad word to use. But we got Shadow Ball for the Mega Guard. Ice Beam, I wanted to go modest. I really wanted to go modest, but I also wanted to speed tie just in case. I wanted to speed tie Infernape and Keldeo, so we had to go timid, which means Ice Beam is not going to OHKO a defensive Zapdos. It will kill it if and after we get Rocks up, but Ice Beam does, I want to say, 90% to his Zapdos. Shadow Ball does a very large amount to Mega Guard. Almost anything here will kill Dougie, except for obvious Thunderbolt. Psychic for Infernape, Psychic for Keldeo, and or Thunderbolt, whatever. Muck really just kind of stands in this thing's way, especially if he has Shadow Sneak. Especially if that thing can get Shadow Sneak. I think it does. I'm pretty sure it still gets Shadow Sneak. T-Bolt from Empoleon, which again is only doing it 50%. And I really didn't see him bring Gypsy or Shaman. There was really no reason to bring them. My team has just a lot of fun with them. Ice Beam for obvious Dragonite, and Thunderbolt for Golisopod. So again, Specs Frostlass at 110 base speed is going to put in a lot of damage to a lot of his mons. I didn't see a reason not to bring that. So we also have a Scarfed Flygon. I was very torn on this set. Because my first thought, being Scarfed Dougie, was I'll just bring D-Dance Flygon. D-Dance Flygon is a free setup on Dugtrio. It's a potential free setup on Infernape. As well as if he brings Banded Golisopod with First Impression, that's another free setup. But I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it knowing that Gypsy's a very, very smart opponent. I didn't want to take the chance that he sets up a D-Dance on Dragonite and we lose the D-Dance race. I didn't want to take the chance that he brings Scarf Memento Dougie and makes a fine prediction into D-Dance Flygon. So I decided, you know what, Scarf is the better idea here. We can afford to go Adamant and run enough speed to outspeed a +1 Dragonite, or +1 Timid Dragonite. So I figure we can run U-turn and really just continue our pivot spam. Dragon Claw is a safer bet if he brings Mega Gardevoir. Earthquake for obvious Earthquake Stab, and Iron Tail for the Mega Gardevoir. So Flygon really has a lot covered in what you see here. I figure, where's the mouse? There it is. Iron Tail, Earthquake, anything. We can U-turn out on the Zapdos and Dragon Claw the Dragonite. So I feel like Scarfed Flagon here was much safer than Dragonance Flagon, barring the potential Dragonance threats he has. Sharpedos Manectric. We have a 216 in speed. I knew I wasn't going to be able to outspeed a Max, Timid, Keldeo, or Infernape. So we tried to speed creep the next best thing, which was, I believe, Zapdos. Zapdos or Mega Guard. Now we do have an Air Balloon, because, again, it only takes one kill for Dougie to come in and just put down Manectric. I really don't want Manectric to be a 1-for-1. It's not supposed to be 1-for-1. But being we are speed creeping, we have to run Timid 217 speed, which is really going to take down an Oomph, which is also going to take down an Oomph with Air Balloon, considering I took off the Life Orb. So Manectric here is not going to be so much damage output as it is going to be a pivot. For damage output, we have, it's a Manectric. I have Volt Switch, I have Thunderbolt, I have Hidden Power Ice. Those are the three obvious attacks. I was really debating whether I wanted to run Overheat or Snarl, depending on if his switch-in was going to be Gardevoir, if his switch-in was going to be Shaman. I was completely unsure. We brought Overheat because it OHKOs Dugtrio. It puts down Shaman if he wants to bring a special defensive variant for Manectric. As I don't remember the calc. I know Hidden Power Ice from Manectric doesn't do a whole ton to especially defensive Shaman, barring it's not Stab. So we brought Overheat for that aspect, and any kind of really just good prediction is going to eat a lot of damage. And Skarmory is basically just Skarmory. We did bring physically defensive. I wasn't sure if he was going to bring Mega Guard or not. I figured if he was going to bring Mega Guard, it would probably be a Wispasser. Especially since my team is, it's supposed to hit very hard very quickly. So I feel like Wish-Passing Mega Guard, possibly a Will-O-Wisp specially defensive variant, may have been in his best interest. But we did bring the only mon on my team I'm not comfortable with in this match is Knives and Skarmory. We have Roost, Defog, Stealth Rock, and Brave Bird. I do not want Defog and Stealth Rock on the same mon. I hate doing that. And I'm aware that it's a horrible idea, but I really didn't have much of a choice with this. I did not want to not bring Hazard Removal, and I didn't want to not bring Hazards. Because the squad we brought this week is supposed to keep momentum, and that's what I want to do. Just as well, Skarmory can pack a punch. we have Brave Bird because of... Why did I bring Brave Bird? I don't actually... Oh, because Skarmory's main job here was Golisopod. Nothing on my team can handle Golisopod except for Skarmory, which is why we have Rocky Helmet. If you want to go for a first impression, even Adamant Banded we're gonna take 10%. We're quad resisting. And if he's Life Orb, he's going to eat Rocky Helmet damage on top of Life Orb damage, which is really Skarmory's main purpose outside of Hazard shenanigans. But I've rambled enough. We're going to get into Gypsy's team here. Now, Dougie did come. I'm forced to assume it's Scarf. And Polion could go either way. I wasn't sure if he was going to bring physically defensive or specially defensive, but that is something we will figure out in the match when it comes up. He could also be bringing Wakon or Shokaberry. Also very good things. And now Scarfed Infernape just runs through my team. It really does. I really don't... There's not a mon on my squad that is a suitable switch-in for a strong Scarfed Infernape. So I had to assume that he was bringing that. Mega Guard, I was for... Mega Guard, depending on Zapdos' investment, could actually go either way, because it could be specially defensive, or it could be specially offensive, barring, again, Zapdos' investment, which it's a Zapdos. It could go any of, 5 different ways. A lot of his squad depends on deciphering a lot of his other mons. which made a lot of this very difficult. Dragonite, it would benefit Gypsy much more to bring Scarfed Ape than Scarfed Dragonite. So I had to assume it was going to be either some kind of weird defensive investment or a much more obvious Dragon Dance. Which, again, this team dies to Dragon Dancing Dragonite. It does. We have a much better matchup with more Mons, but he also has a very good matchup. Don't let that fool you. So we are going to start this off. Boop. So we're going to lead off with Sharpedos. We are carrying the Air Balloon in case he wants to lead with Dougie. He starts with Empoleon. Now, he does make a switch here into Gardevoir. And I really wasn't sure whether I wanted to make the prediction into Dugtrio or not. I felt like it was a little too obvious, and he may predict me to either fire off a Hidden Power Ice or just switch out in general. And I wasn't sure how he prioritizes rocks. We just decided to stay in and go for a Volt Switch. Now, I abuse Trace Gardevoir in the PMC. Absolutely abused it. And I figure, worst case scenario, we give him the Lightning Rod boost. And then we're able to eat at least, depending on his investment, at least one hit with Celebi. So we do give him the Lightning Rod boost. That's really unfortunate. He eats this Thunderbolt. And I'm really hoping he's not offensive. But he does get that Mega Evo. And he goes to the Hyper Voice. I really don't have a switch in for a Hyper Voice at this point. We have Skarmory, who, let's be honest, it's a Skarmory. Gypsy's probably packing a Pocket Thunderbolt. I would not doubt that. If the time came to it, I would probably just go Skarm, double to Manectric, hope for a Lightning Rod boost and fire off an Overheat. But luckily, Celebi does eat this up pretty well for a +1 Mega Guard. And it is going to let us get off a slow U-turn here. On Celebi, I can't really see Celebi doing a lot in this match. We're going to go into Mega B and just kind of scare it out. I wasn't sure, again, if Zapdos was defensive or not, so I felt like U-turn was my best play here. I didn't want to over-predict and go for a Drill Run, seeing Zapdos or Dragonite come in. We're going to go back into Sharpedos. And again, I'm Air Ballooned. I didn't feel like there was a reason to reveal the Overheat yet, so we just went for the safe Volt Switch. But he makes a very good play here. He makes a very good double. Goes into Infernape as we go into Knives. And this is frightening. Because seeing that Skarmory can really stand in the way of Dragonite, barring a super strong Fire Punch, and Mega Gardevoir, depending on its investment, I half expected him to go for a Flare Blitz. So I figure if it's coming, it's coming. Scarfed Ape is too dangerous for my team. We'll just go for a Brave Bird and take him out after that. As I also didn't want to just assume him being Scarfed, so the damage output would also be useful to just take a gander at. But he is going to make the U-turn play here to break our Sturdy, which, after the initial play happened, was very unfortunate because we just dive bomb our face into this Metal Penguin. But it is going to help weaken Empoleon. So we can just go back into Manectric, as he does get free rocks up. I debated that play for a long time, really debated it. Because I really thought I could get my rocks up, but judging by speed tiers, there was no possible way I was going to win that Hazard War. No possible way whatsoever. I figured just taking the offensive and dealing with the rocks when I could was much favorable for me. So he goes back into Mega Guard, as we just take the safe Volt Switch and just run into Frostlass, because at this rate, he either loses Mega Guard here, or something eats very heavy damage from a Spec Shadow Ball. After doing some calcs, I figure that it's going to be apparent that I'm specially invested. It is. I'm hoping that I can scare him into thinking I may be a Scarf Frostlass at this rate, especially if he wants to be cheeky with a running more than 2 Scarves for some reason. But he goes into Infernape. I can see the Flare Blitz coming. He must know I'm choice something by now. We're just going to sack Celebi. There's really no reason for me to keep Celebi around at this point. Go into Flygon because I'm expecting a Flare Blitz, and Flygon can live a Flare Blitz. So we go for the U-turn. I didn't want to go for the Dragon Claw here. I really didn't want to go for the Dragon Claw in case he went into Empoleon again, because my Empoleon switch-ins are pretty lacking right now. I've got, I guess, Manectric, but I don't want to pop my Air Balloon. There's Frostlass, but I don't want to take any extra damage than possible. So I felt as though U-turn was my much safer play. Not exactly the better play, but it kept more of my mons intact for the future. And we do break the multi-scale here. We are able to go back into Frostlass, and he's not going to want to give up a Dragonite at 97% health. I felt like the switch to Empoleon was a little more than obvious, so we decided to make a prediction, go for the Thunderbolt. And this, once Empoleon dropped the 5%, I thought, great, this is game. If I can just get a favorable matchup that shows he's not Walking Berry, he doesn't have leftovers, that Empoleon has to be Shuka, and at 5%, Beedrill just has its way. So if I can get a favorable matchup with Beedrill, set up a Tailwind, that's it. That's the game. That's, unless he's Pocket Stash Dougie, that's game. We just need the favorable matchup for this to happen. So he's going to go into the Dougie here, and I physically can't touch him because we're specs. But he makes a very, very, very good double. Goes into Zapdos as we go into Flygon to escape the Arena Trap. And, I'm fearing the HP Ice. Go into Sharpedos. I expected him to make a prediction and go for the Volt Switch, but he goes straight for the Agility. And as soon as I see the Agility, I thought, oh man, I lose. That's it. I've used Agility Zapdos more times than I can count, and this is it for me. I can already tell. My saving grace would have been going for a Dragon Claw on the Zapdos, but realistically in that position, there wasn't a reason to go for a Dragon Claw. There really wasn't. I felt like Agility was, don't get me wrong, it was a phenomenal play. But that's why it was a phenomenal play, because there was no reason for me to stay into attack. Unless I knew for a fact he would set up Zapdos. Because if he had not revealed it yet, which meant he was either saving it for a specific mon, or it was set up. And it was set up. I figure, had I gone for a Dragon Claw, he would have fired off an HP Ice. If he was physically defensive, that Dragon Claw wouldn't have done much and you could have boosted up. If he was offensive, say, Scarf Specs, it would have done about 40%, and then we would have lost to Flygon. But knowing he's Agility, that changes everything. If I'd gone for the Dragon Claw, this could have all been different. Because as you'll see, Shocky Dog does not die from a Signal Beam, and he is Life Orb. I also really should have gone for the Overheat. If I was ever going to click Overheat, it would have been right there. But this is the beginning of the end, brought to you by Quetzalcoatl. And I had no chance to get the Rock Step, which was really unfortunate, because we did have the investment for Beedrill to live a Thunderbolt. So, Skarmory's going to go down. I mean, my best play, knowing this was going to happen, was to go straight into Frostlass, hoping for the Cursed Body, but again, I don't want to hope for hacks, you know, that's not how I want to play my game. But, Gypsy, my dude, that was a phenomenal game. I don't know how we turned 22 turns into almost an hour. It really did not feel like 22 turns. But you definitely did not disappoint, my man. That was everything I hoped it would be from our match. Hopefully, in the future, we're able to play again. And I wish you luck for the rest of the season. Hey guys, go down in the description, check out his game. I haven't even gotten to see it yet, so it's going to be a surprise to all of us. But until next time. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't update you for week 3. We are going to be playing Zazo, so that's going to be scary. Playing Seb, Gypsy, and Zazo all back to back. This is a great way to start a season. No, I'm kidding. No, it's great. I love the NPL. This is the most challenging league I've ever been in, and it's only making us better. It really is. Playing these kind of opponents is just, it's building the quality. Like I said, I've learned to prep. But that's going to be it for me, guys. Make sure to come back before week 3. We are going to be playing Zazo. Check out the NPL channel. Check out the other coaches. I'm telling you, really, really talented guys. But for now, stay frosty.